don't even know if they've watched it yet, Phyllis. Lily hadn't even watched it when I spoke to her.
Take it from someone who's been there. I get it. It took my kids a long time to trust me after I faked my own death.
How if you're really, 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 really lucky, you find your person. The one. The one.
What the hell are you doing here? You know what? Never mind. I don't care. Just go right back out the way you came. Whatever fresh craziness this is, I don't have time for it.
Oh, Nick.
All right, my soapies, grab your popcorn, pour a glass of wine, and lock the door because Genoa City has once again proven that the only thing more complicated than Victor Newman's ego is Michael Baldwin's simpetry loyalty. Yes, I said it. And today's episode of The Young and the Restless had me screaming into my throw pillow because, yeah, we got to dive into this. And the question is, where do I even start? So let's start out as we open up with Michael Baldwin, who once again can't decide if he wants to be a respected lawyer or a Newman lapdog or just Kane's pawn. Now, Michael strolls into Victor's office with all the confidence of a man who's about to lose his marriage because, spoiler alert, that's exactly where this is headed. Michael is all like, Victor, I'm playing Kane. I swear, let me prove myself. Daddy Newman, just give me a bone. Like, sir, Michael, you're a whole Baldwin. You survived Sheila Carter, and this is what takes you down? Kane freaking Ashby? Boy, bye. But, oh no, it gets better. Jack Abbott waltzes in, and Jack, he looks at Michael like, friend or foe? Loyal husband or Victor's new chew toy? And Michael's like, excuse me, why are you hanging out with Victor, Jack? Good question, because honestly, these two teaming up feels like when cats and dogs pretend to get along for a snack. Don't trust it, don't like it. Jack then lays it all down. Victor, Kane's a problem. We need to squash him before he squashes us. And Victor is just sitting back behind that desk with his hand gestures like he's auditioning for The Godfather, Genoa City edition. He's like, maybe, maybe not. Sir, just pick a lane. And Jack hits him with the family card. Well, if Kane wins, your family suffer. If Jabot suffers, Summer loses too. Basically dangling the grandkids into this. And Victor's like, well, what else are we going to do? Well, Jill's coming to town, so let's just see how she's going to handle all of this AI nonsense, and maybe she can get Kane under control. Meanwhile, Michael is begging for something to take back to Kane to prove his loyalty. Like, this man is ready to sell his left shoe, his law license, and his marriage just to stay relevant in this Kane game in Victor's eyes. Boy, I tell you, what a simp. Tragic. Now let's cut to the park where Kyle Abbott is out here acting like the president of Claire's Love Life Incorporated. Well, at least she thinks so. He's like, Claire, don't go to LA with Holden. He's a player. He's shady and he's hot, which makes him dangerous. And Claire basically tells Kyle, boy, you kissed Audra, lied about it, and now you're worried about my morals. Sit down before I scream. However, you had an emotional affair with Holden while all that was going on. You're ready to screw him. I mean, he set up a whole kiss to expose Victor and Audra. What's your excuse? And Kyle, sweetie, you do not get to kiss Audra, a.k.a. Poison Ivy of Genoa City, and then cry when Claire decides that she want to sip margaritas and Vespas with Holden on the beach and go to Disneyland. Claire drops a whole monologue, though, about needing to find herself, figure out what she is after being used like a chess piece her whole life. And Kyle's like, but you can't do all of that self-discovery with me? Sir, she literally said you broke her trust. But, yeah, what about Holden? He already told you he had a shady past. Plus, you know about the fact that he lied about being Damien. How could you trust him instead? Oh, yeah, you want to screw him. Yeah, I guess to her, she needs to have Kyle listen to her because to her, listening is comprehension and it's free. And just when Claire's about to make a graceful exit, guess who slithers in to listen in the background? Audra Charles, looking all smug like the cat who stole not just the cream, but the whole dairy farm. She plops down next to Kyle like, oh, poor baby, psycho Claire dumped you. Maybe Holden can teach her things that you never could. Now, of course, Kyle calls her poison. She calls their past hookup hate sex. Yep, she said that, hate sex. And I'm telling you, y'all probably fell out. And then she's like, Holden move on to Claire, so I win. Ma'am, you don't win. You just ruin another person's relationship, but go off, I guess. However, Kyle says if you want to use this to get a come up, I'm going to make sure I spend every day ruining your life. So now over at Crimson Lights, Lauren Fenmore is fed up. She's sitting there with Nikki like, girl, your husband is shady. I think my husband is back in bed professionally with your husband. And Nikki, bless her delusional little heart, tries to play Switzerland like always. Oh, Lauren, Victor doesn't tell me everything. He's like this with all his kids, and he's treating Michael the same way. That's just Victor being Victor. And Lauren is like, excuse me, I didn't marry Victor, Nikki. I married Michael. And if Michael is back doing Victor's dirty work, I am done. Done. However, Nikki says, well, your pain is obviously a relief for me. The audacity, because of the fact that maybe he can keep Victor in check, even though it's painful to her friend, Lauren. Anyway, yeah, I can't continue to be married to a man, according to Lauren, whose boss is not even God, but Victor freaking Newman. And Nikki gives her the classic shrug emoji answer like, yeah, girl, come on, do something. Anyway, what she gets her to do is to find out exactly if Michael is actually still working for Victor. So then we see Nikki go have a conversation with her husband, and you talking about deflection like a pro. This man dodged every question and answer, even says if Michael is keeping something from Lauren, that's Michael's business, not mine. He really didn't give an answer. And of course, that set her alarm bells off. Victor then receives a phone call from Jack wondering, hey, are we still on task? Is everything still a go? And he was like, why are you calling me? Everything is still a go, and hung up on Jack. And finally, we hop over to Society where Lauren sets Michael up with food and drinks. All smiles, only to drop the bombshell. Are you working with Victor again? Michael tried to wiggle out of it. Well, Kane backed out of the deal, so technically I'm not. And she got that phone call from Nikki saying, yeah, even though he didn't answer me, I got my answer. I think those two are working together. Lauren was like, nope, because if Kane hadn't backed out, Michael, you still would be Team Victor. And then he actually admits it. Sir, you were supposed to lie better than this. And of course he couldn't. And I'm not expecting him to lie to his wife. But he put it all out there. And of course she called him out on it. And Lauren packed up that purse, rolled her eyes, and stormed out like the queen that she is. Michael is sitting there looking like a man who just realized that he chose Victor Newman over his wife. Sir, you about to be sleeping out at the Chancellor guest house if you don't fix this fast. Then we can't forget about hypocritical Claire as we close out, who ends up over at Crimson Lights spilling her coffee and crying because Kyle pushed too hard and Audra slithered in at the wrong time. Girl, take a break. Don't take Holden, and maybe just stay away from anybody at this point until you truly get your head on straight. But I don't think she's going to do that because she's torn between lying to Kyle, lying to herself, and want to screw Holden. Okay, so there we have it, and here's the deal. Jack is still Jack, desperate for alliances, desperate to outmaneuver Kane, and desperate to keep Jabot's name on the map. Kyle is jealous, bitter, and conveniently forgetful of his own mistakes. Hypocritical Claire is finding herself, but yeah, maybe don't find yourself in Holden's arm. Audra, she is pure chaos in heels, and I know we're here for it. As for Lauren Fenmore, she deserves a medal for putting up with Michael this long because, well, Victor is still the puppet master and claim he's not pulling the strings. When it comes to Michael, he is always pulling Michael's strings, and he's ready to be used as a puppet at any time. And that's today's messy recap. General City stays in shambles. Victor's still scheming as usual, and I'm still watching. Tell me in the comments, should Lauren finally dump Michael once and for all, or should she drag him back to the Baldwin doghouse until he learns his lesson? Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you're notified every time a video is posted. Till the next one, we'll see you all soon. Bye, Soapies.